Okay. Welcome back to another Toonkind game, an FPS, if you will. I'm Mike, and I'm going to be playing as Ollie.
Oh, I'm next in the line. Hello, everyone. My name is Whis. I am playing Malt Thaddach, also known as Thad.
And hi, I am Spec, and I am playing Skipper.
And welcome to the trail we blaze.
Oh.
Well, sort of a trail, I suppose. It's a trail for at least one of us.
Yeah.
I believe we
Yeah.
begin. We begin in the forests and all that, the jungles of Einquell. This is typically a place where you would find the Artefact Manor, which is Ollie's home. It's been raining nonstop today. Ollie's been kind of just hanging out inside for the bit. Maybe he has a certain friend over right now, hence the rain.
Yeah, every time that Thad visits Ollie, it just buckets down with rain. The second he gets within, like a kilometer or so, the heavens open, and it's just like the entire time. And it's just like, he can bring an umbrella. He has actually brought an inflatable boat once and be like, okay, this was necessary last time and I didn't have it. Here we go. He didn't need the boat that time, but it still rained. And he's just like, oh, god dang it. Every single time. 100% of the time.
I mean, only the times where Witty has showed up, it's actually been sunny.
Yeah,
So.
but it's raining on Thad's trip to the manor, and then while he is
That's
in the
true.
manor, Witty's trip to the manor after him, it stopped raining while he's been inside the house. So it's just been this
That's true. It just kind
break-
of detects that you're around.
break
No idea why.
in the rain just long enough for this old gnome to get to the door, and then starts pissing down with rain again. It's like, right. Sigh.
Ollie just kind of seems amused enough. He seems pretty calm at the moment. He's been making himself and for you some coffee or tea, if you prefer.
Oh, he's good with either. Coffee's good.
Yeah, he's gonna default to coffee. He's a bit more of a coffee drinker.
Yep.
And he just kind of sets that down onto the table and just kind of plops down near the window for a moment.
I think it's probably important to point out where this game falls in the timeline. This is, I think we decided it was a couple of months, like 1 or 2 months before the start of the Atlantis campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was before Atlantis campaign. That was very important.
Yes. So we're still doing some timey-wimey stuff happening here, but Dad does not have that to talk about. So
It's fine.
A certain patron hasn't pointed us out yet, so we're fine.
Yeah. Yep. So, so Thad's just been going about his normal business from day to day, and every now and then he pops in to the Artefact Manor with something he's come across or been given. And this is one of those times. I feel like he brought some sort of, like, a trinket box with some sort of ghostly aura coming out of the lock hole, like a keyhole.
Gosh.
And he's just like, okay, yep, alright. Oh, I can have this. And he'll just take it up to the manor. That's just what he do.
As one does.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just to kind of set ourselves in what room we are in Ollie's house. This is like the technically left-hand side of the manor. Like, if you were already inside, it would be the left-hand side. There's like a nice grand piano in the room. There's this little table that you both are seated at. And it's really close to the window. Ollie's just kind of looking out the window. He still has his hand on the cup of coffee.
Thad's just gonna be sitting there, he's drinking his coffee. I would apologize, but I feel like I'm wasting my breath at this point. And he just sort of nods at the window.
Is this where I come in?
Whenever you feel ready.
I feel like unless do you guys have any more conversation, or is that my cue? I feel like that's my cue.
No, I reckon just because of the comedic timing, because these are tunes. Like, that is so used to it always just pissing down with rain. And the only times it's had a break is when someone else has been coming to the door. So he's just gone, oh, I'm sorry about the rain, normal shit. And then it just sort of stops. And he's just sort of leaning back from the window a little bit. Like, what?
You notice, coming up the window, standing right in the middle of the road is this tall Toon with a hat that is absolutely soaked in rain, who is just staring at the sky now because it suddenly stopped raining as he started moving towards the house. And I will grab that reference because I can do things. I can do things.
Mm-hmm.
Like a
Heck
normal
yeah,
human.
you can.
Should have brought this up before.
I think during,
And
as you were posting it, in the meantime, I think Ollie, he goes to write down like, rain's really always interesting, ain't it?
That's just sort of stopped and looked at Ollie and then looked back at the window, but has no comment because he's like, wait.
You see this Toon standing there with a cart behind him and a couple boxes in their hand, just staring up at the sky. And I like to imagine, especially because you said about the comedic timing, he takes like a couple steps back and it starts raining again, and then steps forward, and then steps back, and then steps forward.
Ollie definitely notices this. He just kind of pauses and looks over at that.
He's just staring at the sky the whole time with the biggest eyes.
It's the proximity sensors are going on.
Eventually, after one of the packages, he notices one of the packages seems to be getting really red. Just starts to like sprint towards the house with these packages, staring at the sky. Before you hear this like really loud knocking.
No, like a bang, if you will.
Just a bang,
bang. Let me in.
Please, the weather's acting weird.
Ollie he hears that and he kind of gets surprised that people don't normally knock that loud at his door. He goes to stand up and he notices he can't seem to let go of his coffee cup.
No. Ike, what have you done to the boy?
Dad's just gonna sort of look and then look towards the door and then look back at Ollie and then, were you expecting anyone today? Besides me?
He shakes his head no. He begins writing down, yeah, so I will say I did touch something the other day while I was cleaning up, and I can't let go of this now.
Oh.
Ollie, my beloved.
Shame that.
You'll have to help me open the door.
Alright, fair enough. Oh, it could be worse. It could be like a roll of toilet paper, and that's only useful for a certain amount of time. Coffee cups, they're good for a while. And he's just
he continues to jot down, well, at least you could unravel that, as opposed to a ceramic.
I'd argue that would be more
Which
annoying.
I would definitely prefer not to break, personally.
Just picturing this technically one-sided banter as they're moving towards the front door. And Dad's just gonna turn the knob and
he's just trying to fiddle with his little notepad and having this coffee cup at the same time.
Yeah, resting the notepad on top
Who
of
knows
the
how
coffee
he's
cup.
doing it?
Oh.
For the most part, he's trying to juggle his hands. He's trying really hard here.
It's not his best handwriting.
Definitely not his best handwriting.
Does Ollie's front door open outwards or inwards?
Like, into the house? I'm gonna assume into the house.
Into the house? Okay, so he just turn the handle and pull the door open. And Spec, would you say that our visitor was like leaning against the door by chance?
My gosh, yes!
Oh boy, I'm gonna ask you guys, like both of you, to do a dexterity saving roll then.
Okay.
That is so fair.
Ollie's just standing to the side, so he's not affected by this.
Okay, that's gonna be okay. I'll let you go first, Whis.
Oh! We're fine! With a 15 and a 20.
Wow.
My goodness, you guys kind of stumble forward, but you catch your balance really quick. like quick reflexes. That is pretty on point.
There's like a 5 seconds just because of Rule of Funny as Skipper running in place as he tries to catch before he manages to balance.
Good afternoon.
Hi, and Skipper's looking down and he shakes out his head. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It was raining and I can't let these packages get wet. And he looks up and he sees you two, and you just see him freeze as he stares for about 5 seconds, and his pupils grow 10 times bigger and go, "Oh my gosh, it's you two."
Ollie just kind of gives the little hand wave, like, hey.
Thad's just slowly raising an eyebrow. It's like, us too?
He instantly takes his hat to his chest and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Skipper. Skipper, I run the local boat in the river nearby. Take care of packages and all. But you're Ollie and Thaddeus, the explorers. I've heard a couple stories about. It's wow. And he's just like this grown man is just like has his like shoulders raised up and is like holding his hat like a little child, like, oh my god.
If he was shorter, he'd be looking up.
Oh dear.
He's taller than Ollie and shorter than that, so he's just staring directly forward in the middle.
Exactly.
Thad just sort of pauses for a second and then reaches out and gives Ollie a little bit of a pat on the back. Look at that! We've got a reputation. I suppose 60-odd years will do that, won't it?
He just kind of gives a shrug, like, oh, bashful.
Oh, I love them both. He quickly tries to straighten up and goes, "I'm sorry. It's just didn't know this was your house. I really hate to be a bother, but I don't know why the weather's acting up like this. And do you think I could possibly just, I don't know, one of these packages is easily perishable and I don't want it to go bad, so just long enough for the rain to pass, or whatever's causing the rain to pass, because it stopped when I walked near this house, which was very confusing, and I can't figure out why, but that's just until when I leave it doesn't rain anymore, if that makes it. I feel like I'm not making sense."
Oh no, you're making perfect sense. Do you want to see a trick?
Yes.
All right, young man, we'll come into your
Ollie
house.
is wanting to laugh really hard. He wants to laugh, but he can't make any noise, so you just see him really trying not to laugh at the moment.
All right, young man, in you come.
Skipper just takes a step in, and he, I like to imagine there's some place to put his hat nearby, and he just puts the hat in his hair is just dripping wet too.
Oh.
He's just standing there like a poor child, like, hi.
Yep. So once he's well into that front foyer kind of area, Thad puts his hand back on the door handle and then just sort of pushes it shut, pushes it very slowly, and then it goes click, rain. And then he turns it and opens it, and it stops.
Can Skipper politely take the door from him and just start opening and closing it? I repeat.
Just exploratory. You have to investigate. You have
Listen,
to.
they're all adventurers at heart. Sometimes you just have to go after the curiosity.
Absolutely.
There's a very good chance that Ollie probably did the same thing when Thad and him first met. So.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Thad's just gonna
There's a good chance.
Very good chance. Like Thad's just gonna let go of the door handle so that Skipper can do that. Just fold his arms over his chest and just lean comfortably back against the side wall. It's like, yeah.
I like Skipper does this for like a good couple of times as his eyes just get even wider, and he just keeps looking between the handle of Thad to the window and like this perfect triangle of confusion.
Ollie just finds it really funny. He's just trying. He's silently laughing, and he just kind of holds up a finger, like, "Okay, hold on a second." And he goes to put down his notepad and pen, and takes a sip of his coffee, walks out of the room, and then moments later he comes back with a towel.
Skipper gladly takes that, and it's probably like a very toony moment. of him like rubbing his hair very aggressively before he's magically all dry.
Yeah.
Hey, tunes be like that. It's all
Tunes
good.
be like that.
Yeah, they
Tunes
are.
be
I
like
like
that.
to Skipper, my beloved, it falls very heavy on the tune side.
Heck yeah.
Mm. So unfortunately, Skipper was it? The,
Yes.
the rain likes
Yes,
me.
yes.
Unfortunately, it likes me, so it'll be around for a while, as long as I care to be.
That's wow, that's cool. That would explain those random showers sometimes that the jungle gets. That does make a lot of sense now. That, wha- oh my gosh, this means you guys have been in this jungle the whole time. Whoa.
Ollie just nods,
Whoa.
yeah. Yeah.
That's I what just he's doing that fishscape thing too.
Wow, the house is Ollie's. I live elsewhere.
Would you say Ollie has like different like if I remember correctly, Ollie has like different adventure things in the house, like hanging on the walls, right?
Oh, he has plenty of things in his house.
A plethora
Can I say
of
Skipper?
objects.
Can I say Skipper looks around and sees all these with like wide eyes and starts to walk over and try to touch one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, fun.
I feel like whatever is nearest Skipper walks over and just it's like a moth to the flame, just walks over and just taps it.
Just a very quick gentle tap.
Like he banged on the door, he shook the towel hard, and then he gets to this random object and it's like barely pats it.
Oh dear, I don't
And
remember
you can't be too sure.
what's in the front foyer. I forget.
There's a handful of different items. In the main like foyer kind of area, usually there's a lot of maps kind of like framed up on the walls. Usually places that Ollie has already been to. There's likely one of the place that Thad and him went to before, and then other areas, wink wonk. There's probably a bunch of other maps and all that too, different places of Einquell. Maybe some that are a little more historical. There is a statue of a bird sitting on a table. There's also another table with some jewelry and a little golden pin as well.
I feel like he touches the statue of the bird.
Nothing happens. It's just a nice little stone statue of a tropical bird.
Honestly, he doesn't expect anything to happen. It's more of one of those, he's like, okay, this is fake. Oh my gosh, this is real.
Oh dear.
Ollie's just getting a fun kick out of it. He just seems like he's just standing back, just watching it, and having to deal with the coffee cup still stuck in his hand.
God. I wonder if Skipper notices this, actually. I wonder if Skipper picks up on this.
I mean, you can try ruling insight to see if Ollie shows any discomfort with something stuck to him.
God, Skipper, my beloved, you don't have a good insight, do you?
That's still a 16, though. That's pretty decent.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
The dice are
I'd
being
say
nice to
that's
Skipper tonight. The dice are being nice to Skipper tonight. Let's see how long that lasts.
I'd say Skipper does notice a little bit. Like, he knows that something's up. He knows that that cup is probably just giving him some troubles. But for some reason, Ollie is not putting it down.
Skipper looks over and notices this and kind of realizes how he's been acting and instantly straightens once again. It's like, sorry. I just, wow. And he looks at the cup for a couple seconds, goes, do you want me to, the cup seems to be, upsetting you? Do you want me to take it off your hands? He's trying. This guy's trying so
he kind of shakes his hand like, no, hold on. And goes back to the notepad and writes down. And also points an arrow up to the conversation he had earlier with Thad on the same page. And the first sentence that he written out for Skipper specifically goes, "Hey, sorry. I have a little something going on here." And the arrow drags up to the previous comments discussed with Thad earlier on, saying, "Yeah, my hand is stuck. I touched something, and now I can't let go of it. For at least maybe a couple hours. Who knows?"
I like to imagine Skipper starts to go, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then realizes he just touched something and like yanks his hand to his chest.
Ollie is if he could laugh with a voice, he would be laughing very big right now.
Thad's laughing very big. Thad is absolutely laughing very big. He's just like,
Ollie also writes
"Aw."
down, "Don't worry, this curse is on me, not you."
Okay. Okay. Cool. Sorry. Sorry. I'm
Just
sorry.
maybe
Your
don't touch the sword in the other room, and we should be fine.
You have a sword. You. Okay. That's noted. I won't touch the sword in the other room. The sword you have in another room that probably has other stuff too. Oh, wow.
This place is called Artefact Manor for a reason, young man. There's all sorts of things in here.
I like to
just
imagine
wrong.
he probably did not dawn that he was in Artefact Manor till you say that exact words, and you wanted to see his eyes just shoot big. And he just lets out like the loudest little squeal as he just holds his hands to his face and goes, "I'm in Artefact Manor. I will not be touching anything of the artifacts, the very important artifacts. I will not touch the very important artifact. I promise. Cross my heart. He starts crossing his heart really aggressively.
It's less that they're
Ollie
important and more you're
continues
going to
writing
get
down.
cursed, kid. So, anyway.
Don't need any curses. Those aren't fun, I've heard. I've managed to avoid them so far on the river, but
Ollie's
Yeah.
just like, he's just very giddy right now. And he just continues to write. It's honestly not too bad once you know how to deal with them.
That's very easy for you to say, Oliver.
He just gives a look back at you.
He's just put his hands
Very
on his hips
smug.
and is like giving you a look, tilting his head down. Is like, really?
Mm-hmm. He just looks smug. He's just like, oh, I know what I said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with it. He obviously can't say that, but you know that he would if he could.
Yeah. Thad's known him long enough to know what that look means.
Just the ever slight glance of looking back at that, up, down, and just like, mm-hmm.
Thad just rolls his eyes and shakes his head a little bit, if you say so.
I feel like
He
as you're...
continues.
You go, Ike.
You sure? You can go ahead if you want.
I'm sure. Pinky promise.
Ollie just kind of continues writing. Honestly, you are more than safe to touch most of the items around here. Anything that is barred up against the walls is usually things not to touch. Some things are fascinating, thus I keep them out, but nothing relatively harmful is down here. I usually keep that more in storage.
Okay, good. I like to imagine as Thad and Ollie were doing that staring thing, you just saw Skipper slowly rise from the bottom of like the camera, if there's a camera, with like this.
Just peek up from the bottom of the frame. Oh, okay. Where's my clip studio? Hold on.
And then
yeah. Carry on. Yes.
And then as Ollie says that, Skipper just looks over at Ollie very awkwardly. Not says that, right? Looks over at Ollie and just kind of steps back a little bit and blinks.
Oh dear. Well,
Ollie just kind of shrugs like, hey, go ahead. As long as it's on this floor, it's fine.
I will try not to, out of respect for the artifacts, but that's wow. Artefact Manor, wow. You can tell this man is just absolutely starstruck right now. He's just looking at you too. With the biggest of eyes.
That's a little taken aback, to be quite honest. He's like, okay. Like, he's had his reputation precede him once or twice, but not quite like this. He hasn't had, like, a fanboy before.
Oh my gosh! Oh my god! Oh my gosh, I hadn't thought of Skipper that way. I guess he is. Oh my god. I will never be able to remove this. I will never be able to unthink this now. Thank you. I'll add that to the character sheet now. Skipper, nickname fanboy of Thad.
Oh my goodness.
Oh god.
I think if there's like a quiet moment of just seeing Skipper like Google all over everything in the room, you know, looking at everything so intensely as a fan would. I think Ollie's just gonna tap onto the glass that he has with his pen. Like, well, where were we?
Yes, sorry.
And he writes down, well, if you would like a cup of coffee or something, I could definitely bring that over. If you two want to go sit down in the other room.
That would be very good. Good, sir. Yes, please. And he follows Thad while trying his best to like stay relatively calm now, and he is a grown adult. He can do that. He can stay calm. He's definitely on the younger side of the grown adult end, but he can do this. He can act. He runs a whole boat. He can stop staring at the artifacts and just nerding out for 5 seconds at least.
Oh dear. I think Thad's gonna just lead Skipper into the other room where the grand piano is and everything, and just come and have a look. There's plenty of things for you to get, have a sticky peek at.
Skipper follows Thad and says thank you, and just kind of just looks around, and he looks at the piano, and he stares at it a bit and goes, "Do either of you play?"
Oh, certainly not me. I mean, I've tried. Yeah. I still have a bruise on the back of my head from that.
Ollie nods, yes, and he also gives a finger to be like, hey, hold on, and goes to grab another coffee cup.
I feel like Skipper staring at Thad with such concern at that statement. It's turned from just wide eyes to just concern, just very silent concern. As you can see, like there's like a little loading, like you can see like almost a loading screen behind his eyes. Like he's like, there's brute piano, and he's looking back at the piano like is there? You even see him like look under it, like is there like a booby trap somewhere?
Oh my goodness.
Bless.
Skipper, you're a precious bee.
Skipper, our beloved, with his -1 in both wisdom and intelligence, if I remember correctly.
Oh golly. Thad's not going to elaborate unless he asks.
I feel like he opens and closes his mouth like he wants to. And he makes it very clear he wants to, but eventually he's just like, nope, I don't, nope. Don't question the adventurers. There is probably some very cool tale behind this.
Meanwhile, Thad is just reminiscing about the last time he played the piano and Whitty threw something at the back of his head.
I like to imagine that in like Skipper's brain, like he's imagining like somebody broke in or something, and there's this big fight and like this dramatic scene when it really was just chucking the can.
Yeah, that's probably how it went down. If this was a cartoon episode, it would be the case of Skipper, like, you see how the camera kind of, like, pans up to your forehead, sort of, and you can just see the thought process of him thinking that out. Like, man, they probably go on really good adventures. They probably did something really cool to get that bruise. But then you see the flashback of that, and that's absolutely the opposite of what was intended.
Oh, dear.
I love it so much. There may be even like little thought bubbles above their head as Ollie walks in and sees these very opposite interpretations of the same scene.
Yes.
Ollie just kind of, he comes back with another cup of coffee, and he sets it down onto the table. Almost trying to let go of the one he was stuck to, but then remembered, no, that's my cup. Right.
He can't figure out which is which, and then he puts them both down and one lets go, and he's like, okay.
Right.
And
And he also pulls up a third chair as well from the corner of the room.
Skipper gives a very polite thank you and sits down in the chair and takes the coffee and begins to very slowly sip it with his two hands around it. He's going sip, 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 as he just like peers over the coffee mug at the two of them. Like to imagine they're both just standing there and he's just sipping the coffee like that kid who just got home from detention or something.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
Ollie just begins writing down and he slides it over just to say, like, you might want to take your time with that. I'm surprised it's not too hot for you.
I want to make I feel like there's like a late reaction to like the heat, and I'm gonna make a Constitution saving throw to see how badly this actually hurts.
This boy has no thoughts, head empty, and is just going for it and doesn't realize the consequences of his actions.
Yes, that is my character summary. Oh my gosh!
Ooh. And yet,
he takes a sip of this, and like he feels a sting, and you see like one bead of sweat go down very nervously as he lowers the cup and goes, I have a very high pain tolerance. After the tiger started trying to chew on my hand last time, the pain senses went away for about a week.
Ollie kind of just like tilts his head, like, oh,
That as well is like
he's interested.
oh, that sounds like a tale.
It's nothing much. She was a little nervous, you know. She hopped on the boat for the first time, and so I was taking her down, but she got really nervous, so she started chewing on my hand because I was the nearest thing. It didn't think that, hey, I have pain receptors. That would probably hurt me. But I didn't have to heart because she was so nervous. So I just let her sit there until it stopped hurting. But it's fine now. And he holds up his hand and says, look, all healed up. Just a little. And he
Probably just like very light scarring.
you can see these very distinct teeth scar marks. And Skipper's like, yeah, perfect. You know, there's actually a couple of little scars on his little hand and arms that look like they're from animals, but he doesn't seem really fazed by them at all.
Life on the river is a little bit more exciting than I thought.
Just for me, I like to let the animals onto the boat. It helps them. And sometimes, you know, especially whenever it rains a lot, and he just quietly stares at that for a second. He takes another sip of the coffee. A couple of them sometimes get stuck on the wrong side of the bank, and their normal passing areas get flooded. So I just help them across. I could fit a couple extra on the boat, and then of course there's a couple that stay on the boat constantly just because they want to. I think I may have encouraged them too much when I started feeding them treats. But that's not the point.
That tends to happen, yeah.
Ollie just kind of he does the little shuffle of his shoulders, laughing a little bit. He just seems pleased.
What brings you off the river today? You said you were making a delivery.
Yeah, a cup every once in a while. There's a town a good while, but most of the time I just get my packages through the river and just help deliver them to another town. The river does travel pretty far, but there was this one town that I normally visit once a month, every couple of months, that doesn't have access to the river, but they still need packages. So I'll go there and I'll pick them up. I actually just dropped off their packages, and I was taking what they wanted sent back to my boat when it started raining. And here I am now.
That is now
And he kind of just
trying to think of the different towns in the area, and the one that immediately comes to mind is Jinx's Landing, and he's just sort of I think they were on the river, were they? Was Jinx's Landing on the river, Ollie?
Ollie taps at his sketch pad for a moment with the pen. he writes down, yeah, that sounds about right.
I've been there a couple times. It's one of my main stops, actually. Real sweet people. Had something go on a while ago. A long time ago, I heard. They sometimes talk about it. It's really funny. But, I don't ever know what it is.
Thad just sort of turns and looks at Ollie and then just doesn't say anything.
Ollie also does the same back at that.
I like to imagine Skipper's just comedically not looking at this at the moment and just does not even realize who he's sitting in front of. He happens to have like adventures of them that just isn't Jinx. Like every adventure they've done that is nowhere near the river, so he doesn't realize all the stories he's heard from the river people are the same stories from the Ike and Thad. And bless his heart, he does not have the brain cells to make the connection. Like,
oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yes, lovely place. We've been.
You've been there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ollie nods, yeah.
I mean, it's one of the closest towns to the manor, so makes sense.
Oh, that makes sense.
He just hastily writes, oh, you know.
We had some monkey business.
Oh, dear.
Now, is that something that Thad says?
No, he's not going to say that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my brain functions only in random jokes.
That's fine. But, no, Thad's not gonna say it. He's just gonna look at Ollie and then look back at Skipper's like, okay. Yep.
Yep. Anyways.
Ollie just takes another sip of coffee and just kind of glances around the room. And then he writes down, you said something about the piano?
Oh, yes, I was asking Thad if either of you played. Or Thaddeus, is it okay if I call you Thad? Is that offensive if I don't call you Thaddeus? Sir, Mr. Thaddeus.
Thaddach, actually.
Thaddeus. Oh my gosh, that makes it even better. I like to imagine he says Thaddeus multiple times, and then Thad just goes Thaddach, and you see Skipper's brain do the little loading cell as his entire face bursts red. And he goes, and you just see him kind of shrink in his chair a lot.
Ollie just kind of chuckles and just kind of elbows Thad, and just also writes down, you could call him Malt too,
Malt.
Thad gives Ollie a very gentle bap on the back of the head.
Mr. Malt?
Thad will be fine.
Ollie is laughing quite
Oliver, you little rat bag. Thad is fine. Skipper.
Yes, sir. Thad. I like to imagine he's still bright red, which I also would like to apologize Whis for accidentally messing up there. Anyways.
It makes it extra funny because in a couple of months, Thad is going to be on an adventure with Corey, who's going to call him that again.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Bless poor Thad. Bless poor Thad.
It's fine. He's taking it very well.
He's taking it much better than Skipper right now.
Oh my gosh. You can sort of tell Ollie's trying to kind of get himself back from stopping laughing. Even though you can't hear a dang thing out of him aside from maybe air wheezing. But, old man wheezing. Just no voice. No voice to go for it. And he begins writing down, yes, I used to play the piano a lot. My wife also played the piano a lot, too.
Why? And Skipper's just kind of looking around.
Just likes piano. Learned it as a kid. didn't really leave me.
Ah, wow. Do you still... You said you used to. Do you still play?
He writes down sometimes, yeah. Not as
That's
often
cool.
anymore, though.
That's cool.
I do like to brush off the ivory keys just a little bit, though.
Wow. They're ivory?
It's an expression, son.
Okay, you see Skipper suddenly get like really, really nervous. Like 5 seconds of just like he just turns loses all color for about 5 seconds before Ollie says, and he starts going, yeah, an expression. Yeah, forgot that. He's just like stumbling for like 5 seconds, drinking his coffee 10 times faster. He's ignoring the burning taste.
Gonna run out of coffee at that rate.
I think Thad's just gonna give Ollie a little bit of a nudge. He's like, well, I don't know how well you'd be playing at the moment, given as you've got one great big hoof on one side. And he just motions to the stuck coffee cup.
He just gives a look. Like, don't you tempt me.
Skipper does a little laugh and snorts on the coffee.
Thad's just grinning. He's like, I'm tempting you.
This is enabling.
Ollie writes down, well, at least I can play. Last time you got clocked in the head.
You see Skipper slowly processing that sentence. Is that how you got the bird?
Piano is not one of my strengths, and it's nothing to be concerned about.
You hear Skipper just mumble, how bad do you have to be at the piano to get hit in the head?
Oh, dear.
You have to be pretty dang terrible at it.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a nat 1 on performance with a -1 modifier.
Oh my god.
I mean,
That's the
yeah,
energy
that's exactly how it is.
That's the energy of it.
yeah, something like that.
But Ollie just, he kind of huffs like, okay, you convince me. And he gets up, he goes with the coffee cup, and he sits down at the piano and just rests his hand on it. You hear a couple keys go off because of this, and just kind of gives you a look like,
Skipper's just watching. As he very slowly sips the coffee, and you start to realize it's like running out, so there's just a slurp noise. He's still just sipping the coffee, staring.
Oh my gosh. The coffee guzzler.
Listen, it's hard to sleep when you have like 5 million animals on the boat. He runs a 1 brain cell and a pile of coffee. This is now canon. I will not deny it anymore.
Oh
That's just sort of he'll take a seat at one of the chairs and just lean back, one leg over the other, fold his arms over his chest, going, "All right, Oliver, off you go."
Ollie just kind of pauses. He looks at the keys for a bit. And I guess this means I have to do a performance check, I guess.
Yeah, but you have to do it at a disadvantage because you got a coffee cup in one hand.
Yeah. And to keep in mind, this man also has a -1 in his modifier for performance.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, that laugh is terrible.
I can't believe Whis stole my laugh.
Oh, yeah.
Yes! There it is!
Jesus Christ. I never thought I'd hear you laugh that hard. Holy. Yeah, Ollie just, he takes a couple tries. The one hand does okay, but the other hand just ruins it off right away. And you can tell a bit of coffee is spilling out, and he's trying to make sure that it doesn't spill out. Because, hey, he looks after his instruments. He's not gonna make a mess of it.
Thad is
And he just kind of stares at you like,
Thad has just lost the plot. He's laughing so hard.
Like you did.
Yes.
I did not see the roll until about 5 seconds ago.
That is why it was funny!
Mhm. He just stares at you with the coffee cup.
I need the audience to know that's a 0. That is a 0 audience.
It
It is a 0.
technically a nat 1, but because
Exactly.
Ollie has a -1 modifier, it is a 0 indeed.
It is
It's a
exactly
little
what
nut.
Spec said just before you rolled it.
Oh my god. Can we just say there's a can that flies out of the air from no direction? It's probably in the head.
Oh dear lord. I mean, for the tune goofage of it, that is really bad roll. Well, in considering how his house has been, yeah, that checks out.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
something just flies in and there's a tin can that slaps against his head. And he
Oh my
looks around and is just like, what the?
my god.
Thad is on the floor,
Crying.
holding
Crying.
his sides.
I'm crying. I'm actually crying in real life right now.
Ollie just kind of stares at the two of you like, well,
I feel like
does that
Skipper at this
answer your
point
question?
was trying so hard to be serious, and the moment this happened and Thad started breaking down, Skipper just fell apart. He just has his head on the table with his hands over them, laughing his head off. Oh my gosh.
Great.
Ollie just has the most smug look back at you two.
Yeah.
But he also seems really confused about the can that just came into the room out of nowhere.
Oh dear. I think
God.
Thad's gonna pull himself together after a little while and just sort of sit up and shake his head. Oh dear. I haven't heard piano that bad since I was playing.
Skipper gives a really just chuckles and goes, words. Yes. And he does say that. He says that I will make that in character.
He says words.
He just
It
says
is
words.
canon now.
Yes.
Mm.
He doesn't know what to say. How do you respond? That is one of his people he looks up to, and that was some really bad piano. There is no proper way to handle this.
Oh dear. I think Thad's gonna get up and go over to Ollie and give him a little there kind of pat on the back. And then look down at his coffee cup. I know you can't put it down. Do you reckon I could pull it off you?
Ollie looks like he's about to actually say something, but then also shakes his head no.
You're just gonna have to wait for it
He
to wear off.
he does kind of give you like the little. He does give you like a look, like he sort of tilts his head a little bit, like you could try.
So 2 people pull it off?
He shrugs.
Kind of looks up with a raised eyebrow, like, "Hey, I could help."
I mean,
He just shrugs. Mm-hmm.
I can't claim to be the strongest person in Anquil, so if anyone's going to be doing it, it's likely not me. But also, curses, magic, stuff like that.
Yeah, I have a bit of strength, but I don't know anything about curses, and I don't want to make it worse. So,
Ollie kind of like he gets up and he goes back to the table, sits down, and he taps at the notepad again with that pen, and then writes down. Well, usually if I ever run into this encounter and I can't get it off for whatever reason, I usually just try to refer to another curse, but no idea how that would go.
you just have other curses? Do you
Some
have
items
other
don't really get rid of the curse that they pertain. So sometimes if I pick it up, it just returns again. Other ones, they cancel each other out, so it's not as much of a threat. Things work in very mysterious ways. I still kind of learning as I go along.
Skipper's looking at Thad like, wait, why, how, like, did you know? But and then looking at Ollie, and you can see his brain processing like, what? As he goes, okay, and he has his little fingers up and he's drawing in the air, but he's like, okay, Ollie knows a lot about curses. Ollie is known for figuring things out on his way. Ollie just mentioned he's figuring it out on his way. Ollie is currently cursed. Ollie knows about canceling out. Ollie said, I normally pick things up. And he's just like kind of mumbling to himself. And you just see the little fingers just kind of moving. He's drawing a little picture in the air. And he's just very...
For some reason, this is making me have very large Kronk vibes. You know how Kronk kind of pulls down the maps and guides and things from out of nowhere? That's kind of also how I feel like Skipper would tackle them.
Yep, that is. He manages to pull it from like off screen somehow. Don't question, and he just grabs like a notepad. I'm gonna roll a hammer space. I'm gonna roll a hammer space.
Absolutely.
He pulls a little giant marker out and starts like writing on this like thing he's just pulled out of thin air, and you see like all these little dots, and he just starts putting like little dots and connecting them, and then he stares at it and is like drawn a picture of Ollie somehow.
Oh my goodness.
Before his eyes widen, and he just yanks it and it shoots in the air and goes, "Are you cursed more than one way?"
Ollie kind of gives a silent chuckle and writes down yes.
You're looking at likely the most cursed man in Anquell. And Thad just gives Ollie another friendly pat on the back.
He kind of waves his hand like, no, that can't, no.
Wow. Is that a bad thing? Or... You see his brain processing because he's like, okay, curses, not normally good, but they're joking about it. Is the curse a good thing? Is it one of those things where it's a word? He's mumbling to himself still.
Ollie writes down. He writes down. It's a mixed bag. Sometimes curses, they're not so terrible. I mean, this is probably one of the lighter ones that I have. Other ones, they aren't as nice. And he actually goes and pulls out a pocket watch that he has on a necklace.
Skipper is just staring at Ollie's pocket watch and then looking at Ollie and looking at the pocket watch. And he's for 5 minutes. It looks like you see his fingers start to go touch it before he yanks it back and he's like, what did the pocket watch do?
He kind of just gives a look like, oh, all right, this old thing. He begins flipping through the pages, and he actually finds the page where he originally written down what this thing has been doing. The notes that he's taken down ever since he caught this curse. And for the most part, it reads that age is involved somehow. Question mark, question mark, question mark. And no more voice. No voice. Hurts to try to take off.
Skipper is staring for about 5 seconds, and he goes, so that's why you weren't talking.
Ollie nods.
Oh.
I'm sorry for asking. Does Skipper want to roll an insight on Thad?
Yes, I will definitely do that. I will definitely take Tasty Lore. Or Taste... God, insight! Why? Skipper, my beloved. Okay, please, you did good earlier. Of course.
Alright, just for shits and giggles, let's see how Thad does with his deception on this matter. Only just!
My gosh. Oh, Dice Parser, you taunt me. Dice Parser. You taunt me.
Oh dear. I'm going to say that Skipper is probably paying too much attention to Ollie and looking at Ollie's notes about the pocket watch to be paying too much attention to Thad.
Yeah, Thad's not hiding it very well, but Skipper just has no attention span whatsoever.
Yep.
I mean, his passive perception's a 9, bless his heart, so... He doesn't notice a thing.
He can definitely tell that Thad is paying attention if his passive is 9. But, like, that's as as much information as penetrates through Skipper's brain.
No, Skipper's brain is mostly empty right now.
Oh, dear.
Ollie just kind of lightly chuckles a little bit, and he puts the pocket watch back underneath, like his shirt, kind of, just to keep it safe. And he just writes down. First he goes back to his current page that he's writing on, and just writes down, yeah, that's kind of just how it's been for a while now. No, it doesn't really seem to stop me, though. I got other things I can do. Again, other curses, sometimes they're helpful, sometimes not as much.
Well, I mean, I guess if it isn't horribly bad, I guess it's... And you know a lot, so... And you can tell Skipper kind of feels like a little bad for like having brought up all these curses now.
Ollie doesn't seem he doesn't flinch or anything. He's talked about this a lot. I think he's at this point where he's just at full acceptance about it.
God, I love Ollie so much.
Kind of what he does, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Ollie so much.
Like, he just seems like he's completely understanding. He just nods intently and just listens in.
Don't stress yourself, young man. You're not the first person to ask, and you probably won't be the last.
You see this really obvious sigh of relief.
Ollie just nods along with that. Like, that's right.
Like, his brain in his head's like, oh my gosh, you finally meet two really cool adventurers, and you ask about curses to a cursed adventurer. And then Thad says this, and he goes, okay, cool.
Dad's just sort of gonna drain his coffee cup and then look out the window. Unfortunately, Skipper, the longer I am in the manor, the longer it's going to rain. So you're probably just gonna have to brave it if you need to get back to your boat.
I guess you're right then. Oh boy. If it's not too much to ask, do either of you have an umbrella or just something I could wrap that one package in? And I could bring it back, of course. I can leave it at the doorstep. I know where this is now, so.
Ollie just nods, and he gets up again, goes out of the room, and comes back with a little green umbrella.
Oh my gosh, this is so precious. I'm gonna have to draw this later. Skipper gladly takes the umbrella and holds it and just does like a little like nod and goes, "Thank you so much, and thank you for letting me dry off and get a warm cup of coffee and talk and look and meet you two and talk and look and meet you two and." He's just very nervously fiddling with the umbrella as he stands, and he goes, do you need me to wash the coffee mug before I go?
He shakes his head no.
Okay. I didn't want to. Is there any way I could repay you for this kindness, though?
Ollie taps for a moment, like, with his hand on the table, then goes to pick up the pen and writes down. Not much that I can think of at the moment. Well, if you find anything interesting, you're welcome to always let me know. Or you're welcome to visit whenever you feel like it.
His eyes widen once more and he goes, of course. And if you ever need my boat for any reason, whether to go look for something or anything like that, it's, I'll do anything, of course. Anything to help you.
I'm sure we could find some use for that. It's always interesting things to find along the river.
Indeed, there is. Anyways, laughs and plans. So with that, Skipper is probably going to start heading towards the door with the umbrella, and he picks up that one package he had and holds it very close to him as he opens the door and watches the rain suddenly stop once more. And he once again opens and closes it just a few times before he finally shakes his head and goes, "Nope, I gotta go. I have to go. I have to go." And he opens the door and steps out and opens the umbrella outside before giving a little wave and goes, "Once again, just thank you to both of you. It was nice meeting you both."
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Ollie gives a very cheerful wave.
And I guess with that, Skipper make sure he has all his packages, and he is going to take it, and you watch him start to walk away in the sunshine with that one package held. Even though it hasn't rained, he has the umbrella out, and he's staring at the sky as he walks with that one package held close. And
he can't be too cautious. He's doing it.
He has one job, and he will fulfill that to all his best chances. He takes the package, and you see him enter the jungle, and you see like one bird just fly by and like land on his shoulder. He gets a little wave before it suddenly starts pouring. He just sighs a bit before he sees a mud puddle, and you just watch him disappear into the forest as he hops through mud puddles with his little package and the umbrella.
No.
I think that just sort
of
has
the cart.
Stands at the with Ollie on the doorstep there for a little bit, watching until Skipper's gone. And then as they go back inside, I think Thad's got his hand on the door and is like, nice kid. And it swings the door shut, and then rain.
Perfect.
Oh dear, that was fun.
That was so much fun. The shenanigans, my beloved.
I just love Ollie and Thad bouncing off each other. That's just too good.
Oh, the dynamic was so good.
Just the three of them, I hold them very dearly.
I hold the whole group gently.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. This has been some Adventure Time shenanigans.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed, and you have a good time zone wherever you are.
Enjoy your time zone. Bye.
Have a day.